Alright, let's dive right into this explainer because today we are looking at something wildly satisfying. We're talking about those incredibly tactical, almost cinematic ways that underestimated family members finally reclaim their power. The source material breaks down two phenomenal stories about people who were pushed to the background, totally ignored, and taken for granted. Right up until they quietly bought the ground up from under their family's feet. Seriously, have you ever been the family backup plan? You know what I mean. Have you ever been sitting in a room where your own family talks about you like you're, just background furniture they can shuffle around whenever it suits them? It's a frustratingly common dynamic. One person is the reliable, invisible workhorse, while the quote-unquote golden child gets absolutely everything handed to them on a silver platter. Just to understand the emotional stakes here, imagine getting an outrageous eviction notice from your own mother. Literally, you have 48 hours to pack up your life. No way, right? But this was the actual reality for Maya. She was living in a family rental property that she had spent 3 years and her entire life savings renovating. And her mother didn't just ask her to leave, she instructed her to. Why? Because her more successful sisters suddenly needed the space. So, Section 1, the setup, underdogs versus favorites. Our sources offer two comparative case studies that just brilliantly illustrate this whole dynamic. On one side, we've got our underdogs. There's Maya with her quiet, steadfast responsibility, and another incredible individual we'll just call the artisan, who ran what her family mockingly called a little craft shop. Then on the flip side, we have the favorites. There's Maya's sister Chloe living this loud, wellness influencer lifestyle completely funded by her parents, and we have the artisan's cousins who constantly bragged about their high-rise corporate jobs. It's that classic contrast, right? The grounded characters doing the boring, gritty work versus the loud antagonists chasing massive dreams with borrowed money. Let's focus on Maya's situation for a second. In her family, being the responsible one, well, it was nothing to be proud of. It was really just code for doing the heavy lifting. We're talking handling the tax forms, fixing the plumbing, and staying completely quiet while her younger sister Chloe built up a social media following. Basically, Maya was treated as a background character in her own life, expected to just swallow her pride and facilitate her sister's success. Moving on to Section 2. The tactical evolution, a secret acquisition. Now this is the phase where the underdog stopped playing the victim and actually got to work. Remember that number I mentioned, 48? That was the incredibly cruel 48-hour deadline Maya's mother gave her. She literally told Maya she could move back into her old childhood bedroom because Chloe needed Maya's beautifully renovated house as a lifestyle hub for her brand. And get this, when Maya tried to protest losing her home and her savings, her mother told her she was just being neidish, which is the German word for jealous, all because she supposedly lacked Chloe's grand vision. But Maya had a secret, and her strategy was an absolute masterclass in silence. Here's how it went down. Step 1. A year prior, her parents asked her to help sort the paperwork for the property, assuming she'd just quietly do the boring filing. Step 2. While organizing, Maya discovered they were hiding foreclosure notices, so Step 3. Well, Maya didn't just file the papers. She took the income from her, quote-unquote, boring corporate job and legally bought her family's foreclosure debt through a private holding company she set up. She let her parents keep the title to maintain their family legacy, but legally, Maya literally held the keys to the kingdom. And it turns out, the artisan pulled a remarkably similar move. While her cousins were busy laughing at her small, niche business, calling it a hobby, the artisan used her profits to silently build a massive real estate holding company. Both of these underdogs realized something crucial. The best way to deal with loud, arrogant family members isn't to argue with them. It's to quietly buy the board they're playing on. Which brings us to Section 3, the reveal. The trap springs. Okay, the trap has been set, and the arrogant family members are about to walk right into it. Let's set the dramatic scene at Maya's house. It's Tuesday, Chloe's big transformation launch day. Chloe shows up at Maya's door with the whole shebang, a ring light, a film crew, investors, live streaming about how she's going to give this dilapidated space some real purpose. The mother is right there behind her, arrogantly holding a measuring tape. She takes one look at Maya, who hasn't packed a single box, and snaps, "Maya, why aren't you packed? We told you 48 hours. Now, Maya didn't cry, she didn't yell, she just pulled out a thin folder. The exact same boring paperwork they always ignored. She looked at her mother and delivered this absolute mic drop response. "You're right, Mom. Ownership matters, and as the primary creditor of this property, I'm freezing all unauthorized renovations immediately." Boom, in one single sentence, live on camera, with Chloe's investors listening in, her perfect influencer image was entirely shattered. Our source material uses this brilliant German phrase to describe the mother's initial attitude, stille herablassender Art, which roughly translates to a quiet condescending manner. So the absolute best part is that this quiet, smug condescension instantly melted into pure, pale shock when they realized that the boring paperwork Maya was holding was the actual deed to the property. Yep, they had literally tried to evict their own landlord. And the artisan, she executed the exact same devastating maneuver. When her cousin's high-rise corporate firm faced a major financial crisis, they actually came to the artisan to bully her for what they called a pity loan. But instead, they discovered that her little hobby craft shop had purchased the deed to their corporate headquarters, and she was officially ending their lease. I mean, the shock on their faces must have been absolutely priceless. Let's wrap things up with Section 4, the takeaway, reclaiming your power. These highly satisfying case studies leave us with some seriously actionable lessons about boundary setting. Just look at the visual shift in power dynamics here. It is brutal but brilliant. Before, Maya was expected to silently shuffle back into her childhood bedroom. And after, she offered them a deal where Chloe could stay, sure, but she was charging her sister full market rate rent. Funnily enough, once Chloe actually had to pay for her grand vision, her interest completely vanished. And the artisan, she went from being ridiculed for her hobby to tripling her cousin's corporate rent. It proves, for sure, that financial leverage and firm boundaries completely change how toxic people treat you. The sources leave us with some incredibly powerful takeaways here. First off, no is a complete sentence. Second, your peace is not the price you have to pay for family love. Third, keep building your life and your assets in total silence. And finally, you don't grow by forcing people to see you, you grow by standing absolutely firm in who you are until they have no choice but to notice. True respect is a decision people make when they finally realize you can no longer be destroyed. Maya ends her story with this really powerful phrase, Path of dein Zuhause auf. Take care of your home, and even more importantly, take care of your boundaries. It's such a vital reminder. We have to fiercely protect both our physical space and our mental peace from anyone who tries to treat our hard work as their personal property. Yes, even if they share our last name. Well, that brings us to the end of this explainer, and I want to turn it over to you. How do you set your boundaries and take back your power? Have you ever had your own invisible landlord moment where you quietly outmaneuvered someone who completely underestimated you? Think about it, and more importantly, think about where you might need to start building in silence right now. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll catch you in the next Explicker.